Hello and welcome to the Good, Bad, or Bullshit podcast, the place where conversation is a foundation for higher thought. I'm Bo, that's Crofton over there, and that's Mike, and we're back debating another topic. How's it going, Crofton? How are you doing today?
Hey, good, Bo. You?
I'm pretty good. Mike, you're in the house. We're doing a show.
Hello. It was like a joint. You were like, Bo Crofton. Same time. Lumped together.
Can I tell you guys something?
Yep.
I want to tell you how much I like you guys, and this will either make me look like an amazing friend or a horrible husband. You guys will have to decide. It is my 10th wedding anniversary today.
So number 10.
Oh.
So I mean, it's a milestone number 10, and I'm instead of treating my beloved to a nice night out, I am doing a podcast with you two. After 45 minutes of dicking around.
I've assumed you've rain checked this for another day. Like, let's celebrate on Saturday or Friday.
I'll let you assume.
I think it's the case of they have their parents of 2 young children, so 10 years, meet me upstairs in 5 minutes. She's like, just go do your bloody podcast. I need to get some sleep. That's probably what it was. When you have 2 value different things.
I don't think you're a jerk. I think you're a person that lives, a working man and a working person in a working world, raising kids, and that's the reality of things.
Is anybody going to mention that I'm on 5 weeks vacation right now?
No, well, you just did.
I mean,
I know.
You mentioned it about 18 times on Twitter, including changing your Twitter handle to Crofton on Vacation.
I would like to point out, though, you just called me the working man.
See,
so I
know
felt
another person who went on 5 weeks vacation. That's Michael Hodgins, who I didn't see post on a single internet place whatsoever.
I'm not on the I'm not on the
internet.
But you see, here's the thing: is I didn't even know he was on 5 weeks vacation until pretty much the last week. So maybe he should have.
Was enjoying my vacation, whereas you were like all hung up on like everyone must know I have a vacation when I get my Instagram up and show the pictures. You can like contrive these pictures of you having a good time so that everyone thinks you are.
I haven't put up the photos of me having a good time, but I am going to put up this podcast, although it will probably go up by the time I'm back at work. So
no, these are going up quicker, you guys. I know that we've been late getting these out the door, and I hate it every bit as you guys do. I want these things to get live to hard drive.
Live to hard drive.
Anniversary is this day. What day is it today?
It's the my anniversary, Mike. It's the day of my anniversary.
But which one?
My wedding anniversary.
Were you not
August 8th?
You were married on a weekend?
Yeah, it was. But guess what? Weekends aren't always the same date, Michael.
But I'm just trying to think because I was also married on a weekend. It was my anniversary of 6 years last, and I was like, "Is it a week?" Makes sense. 7 days.
Mike's
like so dumb. I'm like, how many days are in a week?
Mike's cutting out a lot for me, Bo. Is you getting that? No. Okay. Just me? Well, I'll live with it.
It's vacation time. Your computer's on vacation mode.
So yeah, no, for me, my wife and I, obviously you guys know this, but for the listeners, have been together for like pretty much exactly 10 years before we got married. So this is like 20 years. Technically, I've been with my wife longer than I have not been since I've been alive. Like, of the time I've been alive, I've been not with my wife for, I think, 19 years, and now with my wife for 20 years. So
it took 10 of those years for you to settle on her.
Pretty much, yes.
8 years. Yeah, let's give it 2 more years. See how it goes.
Well, I lived in Montreal, Michael. They don't get married in Montreal.
The joie de vivre in Montreal.
So with that said, I would like to, if my wife is listening, which she is not, I would like to say happy anniversary, honey.
Happy anniversary to you. Congratulations on a long and strong marriage.
Did you post it on your Twitter? Maybe that's the best way to get the message to her.
No, she doesn't follow me on Twitter. But Facebook.
One tweet about his anniversary is one less tweet about how he's on vacation.
Good at the same thing.
That's fair. Now, that's not the only big news I think we have this week, Michael.
What is the other stuff? That I'm back at work after vacation? No, that's not big news.
God damn it,
Horrible
Hodgins.
news.
That was a segue for the new GBB stuff.
Oh, it wasn't a segue about my return, my illustrious return to the office.
No.
So I feel like we have had a, what do you call it, like hiatus. I feel like it's been summer holidays for a show. We have not been recording recently, and now we're back, and we have a new way. We're going to try some new stuff out, right?
That's correct.
All the thunder. Who wants to?
Well, I would just say that I think the idea is that, we're three guys. We want to get different things out of different conversations, and we've been doing this show for 200 plus episodes. So I was like, geez, we're not recording as much lately. Maybe there's some stuff we could do to shake things up, make it interesting for us, make it interesting for the listeners. And I'd be curious to hear what the listeners think, like if they like a new approach, they want us to go back to the way things were. But part of that would be retiring the random topic generator and going what is it, green, I guess, like get rid of the gas guzzling monstrosity, and instead while the topic would be random for two of us, the host or one of us would be responsible for bringing a topic every week, which we would discuss. Now, yes, that may give that person an unfair advantage in terms of being able to research.
I think you're grossly overestimating the amount of preparation I'm going to have bringing topics.
No, and same here.
Oh, I don't overestimate anything. In fact, I am confident that is the reason it will be exactly the same. But at least every week, we will be able to introduce a topic that we know we will be keen to discuss, like we being the person who introduces that topic. So you guys know 1 out of 3 weeks, you will have a topic, a meaty topic that suits your interest. You, of course, will have to be the ambassador of said topic.
It's funny because as you're giving this spiel, I'm thinking about the topic I'm potentially going to propose today, and I'm like, I don't know if I care about this topic at all, but I think it will be interesting to discuss.
So I think one of the things that you left out is the why, and the why that I feel like it's important to explain is that we come up with the random topics, folks. It's not we don't.
What?
They're randomly selected from a list we decide.
From a massive list.
But the problem is that sometimes it's like years later, and I have no interest. I might have been me that suggested the topic, and then years later I'm like, it's irrelevant. I don't care. I don't want to talk about it. I think it's stupid. So I just think it's better to talk about stuff that's relevant to us today. That's all.
And it makes it, definitely, by each of us bringing a topic, the idea being the other two don't know about it beforehand. We don't discuss it beforehand. That person brings her topic, and the other two are unable to argue them out of it. That topic is now on the board. It's a card laid is a card played, so to speak.
Because there's plenty of arguing about what went in and what didn't go into the list.
Vetting,
it won't mean anything to a listener. It means everything to us, because I was like, no, we can't. What did I propose one time? You guys really hate it. I want to put that rich Canadian guy in the list.
Oh, one dude. Oh yeah, what was the guy from the
Kevin
Shark
O'Leary?
Tank?
Yeah, I'm like, let's put Kevin O'Leary in it. You're like, no.
Can you say a person is bullshit?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe you can now.
All right, yeah. Well, if you want to bring up Kevin O'Leary, I feel like his star has faded.
For sure.
Joseph Stalin, good, bad, or bullshit.
Joseph Stalin. I feel like if you say anything but bad, probably you don't know anything about Stalin.
Well, it's a review show, and others may have reviewed Joseph Stalin, but we haven't.
And I would say, though, that because I know that Monica has indicated here in the Twitch chat that she has come up with some topics, and we may still be getting topics that come into the good, bad, or bullshit mailbox, goodbadbull@gmail.com. I feel that, we are going to look at that and consult that. But if a listener has brought a topic, then all the better. that takes precedence, over all three of us. And then we can all equally be,
Unless it's
navigating that topic.
We're gonna veto like things like diarrhea, though. Just be forewarned.
Well,
Yeah. If somebody is
but does
trolling
you
us,
gonna say that's good? Who's gonna say that's good?
You can review anything.
I guess so.
There might
Well,
be a diarrhea fanatic who would just be like, "Yes, please put it in an ice cream cone and give it to me."
What's also kind of funny about this, which makes it different than a random topic, is that I had the one I have in mind. I'm like, I think you guys are almost going to feel like I'm trolling you, but I think it's going to be a good topic. It might not be, but that's the thing. Now I know what it is, right? So I'm gonna,
and that'll be good for the listeners. They will be like, "Oh, it's a Mike show this week, or it's a Bo show this week, or oh, it's a Crofton show this week."
I don't think our listeners are gonna like it either. But what does that have to do with anything? We never used that as criteria before.
All right, so
so now that you're
so then if we're not gonna, we should still use a random topic generator. I mean, it's traditional.
To make this sound, but it doesn't even work. The last few episodes, there was no sound. Remember, Bo?
It was a
miking
problem. The random topic generator worked fine. My recording software did not. However, it should be fixed today. Let's stretch its legs. Chat room, I need your help. Tell me if you hear this.
Suck on these croissants, bitch. And it's like lag of typing.
If they hear it, I don't.
Earth females are too fragile.
You hear that?
Okay, this is a great live experiment here.
Oh, here's a classic.
Smoke Watch 2050.
Okay, this is not radio. Is this talk radio? What is it?
It's a podcast. It's whatever we want it to be.
Whatever, it's the same thing.
So, do you want to bring forth your topic, Michael?
I will. Are we ready? Has Bo decided that he's finished sound testing?
So, do you have a sound? Is there a sound? I don't have a music. Should I find music?
Maybe we should get a music for
we should make a new sound
for the reveal of the topic.
Yeah,
we could do it.
Kind of a nice ritual, and I didn't really think ahead.
No, we didn't. And I will be sad to lose that random topic generator, because not to spoil that sound, but it was a very special machine that sound originated from. I made it in my backyard many years ago.
Yeah,
I don't know how we're gonna.
Bag sound. It's just a bird delivering the topic. Why don't we use that?
Whatever. I can't hear any of your sounds anyway, so you're just tell me when to say the topic.
All right, here comes the bird. Delivering today's topic.
I'll take your word for it. All right, guys, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you set?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually have more anticipation than I normally do.
I think the word you're looking for is anxiety.
Okay,
the topic today is the exciting one of bird watching.
I don't think that's a troll.
For you guys, I'm curious. I am half curious.
The fascinating part of bird watching is that I know that there are bird watching podcasters out there, and when doing research on how to upload things and what kind of topics appear in iTunes under what categories, I'm still quite shocked to find that there are very popular bird watching podcasts that I'm pretty sure would be envious of their success. I guess would be the way to put that.
People are into bird watching.
Yeah, it's funny though, because I would think that the overlap between like podcast listeners who, and this is a prejudice against bird watchers, would be like more tech savvy and more, into new media, as opposed to bird watching, which I generally associate with, I guess, the older generation. You'd think that there wouldn't be a ton of overlap there. But...
like kind of with like khaki cargo pants over your belly button sort of fashion style.
Okay, full disclosure, my mom is not a huge bird watcher. Like, she doesn't
Your mom's a birder. I didn't know that.
Well, she doesn't
go on birders.
Birders.
She doesn't go on those trips or whatever, like with the list or whatever the heck that they do. But she has like my whole life being really big on like attracting birds to our house and like, feeding the birds. And then she has like 4 books where she'll always pull out and be like, oh, that's a red-winged blackbird or whatever. And then for my entire childhood, I thought cardinals were rare birds.
They're just
because,
nice birds.
because my mom would be like, "Oh, I think we have a cardinal in the backyard. Oh, it's the male and the female," and I'd be like, "Okay, that's great." So I thought they were super rare, but I've got like 2 cardinals in my backyard in the middle of the city, and it turns out like they're not uncommon birds. It's just that like for mom, it was like, "Oh, I know all the birds that live around our house, and I did not know any cardinals lived
I
around
think
here."
it's no, that wasn't. I think it's just because like there are rare birds, and then there are like nice birds. Birds that when you look at them, you're like, wow, look at that bird. Like, and a cardinal is for sure one of them. It's a bright, full red, beautiful bird. You see, you're like, look at the cardinal. Sometimes you'll see some. Incidentally, I will also disclose. You said your mom was a birder. My
Yeah.
wife Andrea, also a birder,
Oh, really?
and worked in the birding field. Believe it or not.
Like out in a field with birds?
Yes, she did work in a field with birds. I think she was doing bird research, which makes you where she would she would catch and tag birds for some university researcher somewhere here in Canada, and then do that for a few months. And I think in a particular part of, I think it's Lake Ontario, where there's a strip of land that goes really far south, and birds will hang out there before they really start their migration. And then she went to like Jamaica and caught the same birds again because they were trying to figure out. They banned them, and here's one we caught up there. They're trying to track this. So she did that for I think a couple of years, and is a birder just because she likes birding. So yeah, there's disclosure there too. So
that's it. That's interesting. Like that is really in the bird field. You've got it in the family.
what I was gonna say was that there's a term, an acronym that birders use, which is, what is it? I think LBJ. She's like, oh, it's an LBJ, which means little brown job. I guess what birders say. It's a little, because it's a bird that's little and brown, and you don't really know what it is.
LBJ, Lyndon Johnson.
That's
Lyndon,
no,
it is LBJ.
Is it
right?
B?
Yeah.
No, it's.
I'm pretty sure I read an article about Lyndon Johnson this week. And LBJ was the acronym.
Well, anyways, birders don't give a shit about it.
I think his middle name might be Bird. Anyway, but
so what I was gonna say was that LBJ. So people say you might find there's all these birds that are little brown birds that look like nothing, right? And you're like, oh, it's an LBJ. But if you could identify that little brown, nothing-looking bird, it might be like some rare bird, right? And you're like, oh, a rare bird. But you see a cardinal, and it looks nice. And this is tickling Beau's fancy.
Crofton could be getting an LBJ right now on his anniversary, but he's recording this podcast.
But he's here with us instead.
Sorry, I had to get that.
My brother has these like he manages the bungee jump site in Wakefield, and he has like those everybody loves a BJ, I think is the shirt, which is BJ being bungee jump. Well, I could put L in the front of it now, and it could sell it to birders.
Actually, I bet you birders would buy that.
Like the difference between a birder and a normal person, because a birder would be like, yeah.
It'd be
and a normal person would be like, Lyndon Johnson?
See, one thing I find interesting about this right off is there's been so many there's been so many nuances to the discussion that reflect what I see in video game culture, because like Pokemon were designed based on insect collection, I think it was, and bird collection, the same sort of deal. When we were talking about the cardinals, and Mike was saying, oh, there's a difference between rare birds, and then he said and good looking birds. In my mind thought he was gonna say and legendaries, he's like,
pretty much.
he's like a cardinal. A cardinal is would be like a blue card, it's not super great, but it's better than a common, like a sparrow or a chickadee.
There is an element of Pokemon Go to bird watching, isn't there?
There absolutely is, and I thought about this exact thing, and part of what tweaked this in my head as a topic. There's these kids in my neighborhood who are still playing Pokemon Go, and there's a couple what do you call them? Those little Pokemon stops near. Well, they're everywhere, right?
Pokestops.
And And then it definitely occurred to me that I was like, this is the same thing. Yet birding really seems to be to a certain demographic. It's like it seems to be largely older people and outdoorsy folk. But I was kind of like, what's really the difference between something like Pokemon Go? I mean, I guess you make your Pokemon fight each other, and you can't
take the video gamification out of it. Like the core task is a collection. And you can snap a photo of something, and that photo could be in the collection of things you've observed in a pamphlet, or in your phone. Even you could just make a binder, all the cool birds that I've observed in my photos,
or just that you've seen them. Like it's not like it's like, for example, I've gotten slightly into birding since being with Andrea.
Oh.
And like Crofton's mom, we get the bird feeder in the backyard, particularly during migration season. You get the bird seed out there, and then you might get a different bird or a bird that you're not used to seeing because it's in migratory phase. And you're like, oh, the warblers are back, and then you might see a whole bunch of different warblers. And it really strikes me as similar to the Pokemon thing, whereas like you haven't usually seen is at the Pokestop, and you're like, oh my god, here's but I just feel like
the Pokestop.
It really is the same thing, and I'm just like, why? Like I'm curious why it doesn't have that. I guess because there's no structure around it, like bird watching. Like you have to just go out and look for the birds, and then like write down the ones you have, or have like I have a little booklet that I got at the bird store when buying bird seed, where it just has like all the birds that you might see in this area where we live, and you check them off, and it's funny because there's like hundreds, and I've checked off like a couple dozen, probably all common. Even when ones I see, I'm like, oh my god, what is that bird? I looked it up in the bird book, and it was something called like a Blackburnian warbler. It has this like fiery orange red name. Yeah, but it has like this fiery orange red, like orangey yellow head, and it's a really amazing looking bird. And I'd never seen it before. It's like, oh my god, it must be rare. And I look it up, it's common, of course. And that was my with all birds that I've seen.
But it's like, rare to you.
It was rare to me, and I was and it's really one of those things that I've noticed with bird watching is that if you don't ever think about birds, which I did not think about for, let's say, 37 years, and then in the give or take, and then the last 2 to 3 years, I have thought about birds since Andrea has been like, hey, look at the birds. Then all of a sudden you start to be like, oh yeah, I see these birds everywhere, sparrows, red-winged blackbirds, cardinals, even Crofton, as you're aware. And then occasionally you see one where you're like, oh, that bird's different. What's up with that bird? I don't know it. And when you start to pay attention, you realize like that when you see them, it is like when you're playing Hearthstone, Bo, and you crack open a new deck, and there's a legendary drop in there, and you're like, oh, it's the same thing. It really scratches the same itch, I think.
I mean, yeah. Well,
you don't think so? No.
Well, video games are science to give you certain itches. The fact is, if a bird's not around, a bird's not around. There's no bird
But like
company.
when you're playing Diablo 3 for 80 hours and you're looking for like some stupid piece, like some piece of extremely rare item to complete your armor set, that is not happening every day, right? You have to put in the time to get that thing.
You gotta, if you put in 80 hours, depending on the torment level, I can probably farm like
torment level. It's just like bird watching. The torment level is very
on
high.
The torment level, like on torment 10, I think I can scoop up about in an hour 30 or 40 legendaries. The analogies. You haven't played Diablo enough to experience the true game of Diablo. For any gamers listening, I've tried to get these two people to play Diablo 3 with me. And they can't make it past like Act 2 of a normal playthrough. They don't realize there's a whole game once you finish it, and it's fun. But it's fine. They don't have to like it. I just like that the analogy just doesn't work at all. But I get what you're saying.
What you're saying is that rare things are not actually rare in video games.
It's just they're designed to balance between giving you that hit, of accomplishment, whereas nature's
frequent hits.
Yeah. Nature's just like, I don't know, if there's no animals here, there's no animals here. Like, you better go find them. You know what I mean? Like it's not the
Don't
same.
you think that's more satisfying though? Like when you see
No,
something.
that's not the conversation we're having. I'm just saying that.
Well, we should get back to it.
There's no Animal Kingdom isn't a gaming company designed to give you those hits.
No, it's not designed for
the
it.
hit is real, which is I
Yes.
think the point you're making. When you do
Yes.
find that legendary bird, you have your brain fills with chemicals, and you're like, oh, I've seen what's a rare bird.
Well, I'll give you an example of a bird
The
that's
mellifluent warbler of
there
Nova
probably is
Scotia.
something quite like. I will give you an example of. So last year, I went to this cottage almost 1 year ago with the family, in somewhere kind of near Kingston Town here in Canada, in cottage country.
Gan?
What?
In Gan?
What's Gan?
It's Gananoque, but locals call
No,
it
it was
Gan.
more like Frontenac area.
Okay. Like shit.
Take out
what's
your
that-
Google
what's that-
Maps,
What's that
Google
place with the
Frontenac.
beaches where the beaches are?
It wasn't on
Picton.
Lake Ontario.
Picton.
No, it's not that.
Not
It was more like
Bye
it
bye,
doesn't
half
matter.
our listeners.
Yeah, whatever. They were already gone.
They want to
from
learn about
Birdwatching.
the province of Ontario is a rich and beautiful country
Lake Country, Ontario.
filled with wonderful townships.
So,
Anyways.
so I was at this cottage, and Andrew bought her binoculars, and I was like, looking for birds because I was this was within the time frame we've been thinking about birds. And my other experience with birds is I go to the Nature Museum here in Ottawa all the time with my kid. And Crofton, you're very familiar with this museum as well. In the bird exhibit, there's a bunch of dead stuffed birds, right? And I've seen a lot of them. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know that one. And there's one that's super bright colored, like this. It makes a cardinal look like a dull red, and it's called a scarlet tanager. It's like this, almost like fluorescent red bird.
Scarlet what?
A scarlet tanager. I've never seen one in my entire life. And I was like, and in the
I've never
museum,
heard those letters put together. That sounds
just
like a
Google it, and
legendary
you'll say
bird.
like, yeah. Well, if you Google it and you look at it, you'll be like, oh my god, that thing lives around here. It's a beautiful bird.
You're like, that's no LBJ. That's a Royal
No.
Tenenbaum. What you call it?
It's like it's the best. It's the best looking bird in the museum collection, I think, in terms of like,
Okay.
whoa, look at the color on that thing.
All right.
Did you look at a picture of it, Bo?
No, I haven't. I'm conversating with you. What's it called? A Royal
So, anyways,
Tenenbaum?
I've never seen one of these things before, and I was like, man, one
Royal
day I'd like to see one of those.
Tanager?
Anyways, I was at the cottage. I had looked for birds. I think I'd seen a few, blue jays and run of the mill things. A lot of LBJs, if you will. And then I was sitting on the porch, and right in front of me, no other than a scarlet tanager lands on a branch in front of my face, and I literally keep in mind, this is like I'm getting this ultra rare Pokemon catch at the Pokemon shop.
Yeah.
I got on my chair and I said, Andrea, a scarlet tanager. What? I was so excited. And then she came and she was like, where? And I was like, where? And then we saw it. We looked at the scarlet tanager, and then it flew away. And I have never seen, that was whatever, a year ago. I've never seen one in my entire life. I've not seen one since, and I don't know if I'll ever see one again.
And I just turned to her in the field and I said, "Make love to me right now. My life can never get better." And,
This is it. It's all downhill from here. And I was going around telling all the extended family, I was like, oh, I just saw Scarlet Tanager, and they're like, yeah, whatever. Nobody else cared. But it was exciting because once you start paying attention and you realize there's all these birds that are really cool and you never have noticed them in your whole life. And then when you see one, it really is like, wow, I just saw something I've never seen before. And with birds, there's so many of them. They're all around. You can see, like if you just keep your eyes open, you'll be surprised by the things that you might see.
I got a bunch of thoughts I've been trying to write down here while you guys have been talking. But one on the video gamification, I do think that like as we get into this world of augmented reality and stuff, that like your phone or whatever, your cameras will soon be able to detect the type, like they'll know what they're looking at, and that's when like they will auto classify things. In Zelda Breath of the Wild, the latest Zelda, it's a huge open world and there's tons of junk, like tons of stuff, tons of, be it birds, animals, bugs, anything, and you can take photos of everyone, and then as soon as you take a photo of it, because it's a video game, it will put it into your compendium and give you a nice information sheet all about it and all this sort of stuff. But you have to take an active photo of it for it to be in the compendium, right? So there's tons of people going around like taking photos of whatever their stuff and it going in there. But that's video gamey. Like you can take a photo and it automatically sorts and does all that. it's possible to have a book and
It
do
does
all
exist though, that because I mean I know that specific app, what you're exactly talking about,
Yeah.
for sure exists for bugs, because I saw an ad for it somewhere and it was like you can just take
It'll
a picture of
detect
a
the
bug.
bug?
If you take your camera and look at the bug and take a picture, then it will detect the bug and it'll say it's this bug. I don't know if it collects it in a companion, but I was like, this is super cool. And I'm sure, I don't know how it would work. It's literally hard to take a photo with your phone of a bird, probably because they're usually like, far away on a tree or something like that.
Yeah,
But I'm
no,
sure
it's true.
I'm sure something similar must exist. If the bug one exists, I'd be shocked if there wasn't a bird one.
So the other thing I was going to say is, for me, like it is, I found it really interesting what you were saying about how you weren't into birds, and then all of a sudden you were, and so all of a sudden you see this dimension of the world that had been in your face since you were a kid, but you'd never really paid attention to before. And I do find that fascinating because it's true. Aside from the very common birds, the seagulls and chickens.
It's froze out.
Classic Crofton.
Oh, can you hear me still?
Yeah, you're back now.
Yeah.
You can hear the like woodpeckers or whatever, and you're like, okay, I know what those birds are, but I generally like a special bird for me. All those little birds, those are garbage birds to me. Like when for me, it's like
Whoa.
when it's a bigger bird, then it's a more important bird. Like
you want to see a pileated woodpecker.
Oh man, that'd be the best woodpecker. But I'm talking even bigger. I'm talking like a great blue heron.
Yeah, but they're all over the place. You see them?
Yeah, but they're beautiful. They're epic birds.
So wait, did Crofton just say that he likes bigger peckers and not the smaller ones?
The pileated ones, Bo. The pileated ones. But like, and the other thing, leaning into that, what I'd say is what you take for granted in your country or whatever is different than what other people take for granted in their country. And never did this resonate more strongly than when I was in Australia. So I'm in Sydney, and there's these giant birds all over the downtown environment. Like they're called ibises or something, and they've got these like giant honker peckers, like really long, and they're going around and they're picking through the garbage and stuff, but they look kind of a bit like flamingos. And they're huge, and they're all over the place, and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm running around taking pictures of them, right? Because like, I mean, they look really exotic.
And you're taking pictures of like the seagulls or whatever.
Yeah, no, literally, it's like somebody running around taking pictures of seagulls. People are looking at me like I'm a complete Fruit Loop. I'm like, hey, check it out, Jesse. Check out all these birds. I'm like, but they're super, super common there.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because it's like, it's all about the rarity. Like if they're rare to you, which these birds were to me, I'd never seen them before. Well, by the end of my trip in Australia, I was like, I couldn't give a shit about ibises anymore, right?
It's fun. I have a similar kind of story on the counter to that. I was recently on a little camping trip in Algonquin Park. It's a great park here in Ontario to go on a like canoe camping trip, and a lot of people from Europe or whatever might go there. And we were canoeing around. There's a lot of people around. And we passed this bend, and there was like, I don't know, like a European family or something, and they were like, they seemed kind of excited about something, and they were like, oh, there is a Canada goose over there, and I was like, Canada goose. I like literally in this city, you bike down the bike path, and you almost like drive over.
Fuck those geese.
They don't even move out of the way. They're like huge, and they get in front of your bike. And
There's babies everywhere, and they were excited. I guess because there was baby Canada geese. I'm like, they're literally like a scourge on the city of Ottawa, like everywhere. I'm like, Canada goose is like, who cares about the Canada goose?
But I do recognize them when I see them, and somebody's like, oh, a Canada goose. I can understand why they would think that goose is special. Like, why it's like, oh, it's like, if you don't have it, it's a big goose. Like, it's not like it's notable. It's not like a little, like, you're into these little birds. Like, was that?
But not just, Crofton, let me tell you a couple of birds.
Scarlet Tanager.
Like, Scarlet Tanager is a very nice bird. If you saw one, you'd like it. But
well, if you want to see one, I put a picture up on the live stream in the fourth panel we have here. I don't know if you can see that, Mike, but Crofton certainly can. He's been watching himself this whole time.
He's been watching himself. So Crofton, you're probably into herons, is what you're saying. You like a big bird. Oh, and like a blue heron. The bigger, the better.
What? I missed something here.
No, I
he's
just
just
saw the
laughing.
bird on Twitch.
Did you like it?
I just yeah, it's a good
Is it
bird.
nice?
I mean, it's
looking?
beautiful. It looks legendary. Like if I
Yeah,
opened
it
that
is.
if I opened that in a pack of Hearthstone cards, I'd be like, "Whoa, legendary!"
Exactly, it is
Yeah.
a legendary bird. But there's a couple like around. So I live by this river, and we've been quite often. I'll have to take you on a little bird tour sometime around here, because you're like a big bird. And there's a lot of blue herons around.
No. Sorry,
But
go on.
but then recently, since I lived here, I've noticed these other birds here. Two other herons that I've never seen before, or never noticed, I should say. A green heron, which is kind of cool, and a night heron, which is quite a neat bird. They're quite big, smaller than a blue heron. But I was like, again never noticed these birds. I was like, wow, a night heron, that's cool. I went back and like looked in the book.
Maybe I've seen one. I just didn't
common.
know.
Yeah, last year I saw also a great egret, which it looks like a white blue heron. Like it's
Oh,
big.
my mom is huge into egrets. That's
Oh,
one
she
of
likes the
things.
egrets?
Yeah, because
My mom is huge into egrets.
she goes to Mexico every year, right? And part of the deal is that like her house overlooks this sort of like rainforesty river. And I'm like, Jesus, Mom, are those alligators down there? And she's like, oh yes, but look at the egrets. And I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. There's alligators down there. But she's like all about the birds, and some of them are like, pinkish hue, and some of them just all different types of egrets. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
but
There's lots of them.
But people will play like, see, for me, it's if you're bird watching or into something like that, I would imagine the next level of it is that you're reading up and researching birds from places that you don't even live, and then you're planning trips to go to those places to see those birds. Because like for me, it's like when I go to a place that's exotic in some way, well, everything's exotic. The animals are exotic, the birds are exotic, the temperature, the architecture, everything is different to me, and it's part of the whole traveling experience. But like for a bird watcher, if I was a bird watcher and I was traveling, I would want to know that what I'm looking at is a value or special in some way. Like if it's just the common birds of that area, then I would feel like,
Have you guys you know what? Have you guys heard of or seen the movie? I think it's called The Big Year.
No, but I've heard of it. Like I've heard.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's worth watching with Jack
Black and Steve Martin. Is it?
No, what's the other guy? The blonde-haired guy with the kind of
Owen Wilson.
crinkly nose. Yeah, Owen Wilson.
You know what he's famous for?
The evil birder.
Wow.
That's his thing to say that. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a good movie in that it's a comedy.
Steve Martin was in it.
Was he?
He's the third one. It's Jack Black, Steve Martin, and Owen Wilson.
Well, in all to say, I think you guys would enjoy that movie. It's actually quite fun to watch and gives a good because when I watched that movie, that was probably at the beginning of my like, oh, birds, eh? And then I watched that movie and I was like, very interesting. Like how Bo is just like,
I just like the way you phrase it, like birds, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Like you just woke up one morning, you're like, birds.
That's how it feels when I look back on my life thinking about birds. I'm like, right, yeah, there's birds around. Like interesting.
Hey, guys,
but yeah, it's a good movie.
Wow.
But I guess so. Is it like now you guys? So I am vaguely interested in birds now. When I go out for hike or walk around, I look for the birds. I look around, see if I see anything different or not. Try to be like, what's different about it? But you guys not into birding.
No.
This? I'm Bo in particular. I'm interested.
I'm impressed that we've made it this far without getting to verdicts. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, because about
a minute in,
I
said like all I really knew about bird watching was what was on offer in the Apple Podcast Store, and that's pretty much all I've contributed except for dumb jokes. But like, I'm impressed at how much I'm impressed, like in a positive way, that
But
not only does Crofton have like great contributions with his mom that involves his life as a pleasant surprise, but that you are a fledgling birder. What do they call fledgling?
Well,
birders?
see, that's it.
a hatchie, a hatched.
No,
a
it should be a
freshly-
fledgling. That
But
is,
that's the new model. The new model. But
I'm
Mike is
vaguely interested in
he's,
birdwatching.
He's bringing in the topic, and there
This
we're
is
able
well. This
to
is
talk
my
about-
point. It's really relevant, and I'm loving it. I learned what a
well,
Scarlet
you say that, but
Tanager
at
was
the same time, you were like, I don't like this topic, and I'm not contributing anything. But I want to know, what do you like when you hear this concept going out of your house? Now
Yeah,
you're someone who likes
well, I have
collecting
an
rare.
opinion.
But I mean, it's when you like to collect rare artifacts in Diablo 3. You enjoy this. You enjoy that aspect of video games. You know, getting the stuff.
He likes buying clothes in video games, but he
Yes.
doesn't like buying clothes in real life.
Well, right,
Whoa,
but
I
so
don't
does
like
the
buying clothes in video games.
Yeah, you like all the cosmetics, dude. You're all about the
I
cosmetics.
can buy skins. It's not clothes. That's different. I'm not collecting them.
So do you?
Oh.
Does this idea appeal to you? Like, if you were like to go
No.
for a walk, look at birds, and you saw, what if you saw one like a scarlet tanager came and perched in
I'll
front of your
tell
head?
you why, and it's. I'm just not that into animals. I think is the ultimate thing. Like I've got nothing against them, but I'm just not that interested
Nothing
in them.
against-
Like I'm
You
not
realize
like
you are
some
one.
people. Some people kind of hate animals, right? Like some people are uncomfortable around certain types of animals, and they just don't like them. I'm just not. I'm just not. I just didn't wake up and go birds. I'll wake up and go StarCraft 2. You know, that's just me. It's not a. It's not a.
Call me when the birds can deliver dopamine right to my head, okay?
Okay,
I
well-
just-
The first thing I think of is most birds are pests, but that's because I only see the shit ones, the LBJs probably.
well, it's true. I had this robin in my old house that was like busting his head against my. He saw his reflection in the window, and he just kept busting his head against
What are
it.
they
And
called? In our building too, there one of the big topics of conversation is that sometimes the turkey vultures will land on the windowsill and bang.
They're
Like,
cool.
they'll have sex right on the windowsill in the office.
I thought you meant like bang
That's a
on the
big bird.
windows.
No. They'll just they'll be trying to mate. And,
Well, I
you know,
think with birds
but
that only takes like
that's
1
a
second.
different kind of bird watching, if you know what I'm saying.
Hey guys, if you want to see some hot bird action up on 14, they're going at it. Bam, bam,
Those
turkey vultures.
vultures.
The Mike, like I think that this is one of those things where I would like to like bird watching or be interested in it and all that, but I just don't. I have the patience or the level of interest, and it. But I think highly of it. Like when you see all these people that are going out hunting animals or hunting rare exotic birds or different things and mounting them and all of that. And then you compare that to people going around taking photos and just wanting to experience them in the wild. Like I have difficulty thinking anything negative about bird watching. The only thing is that I'd say, not for me, seems a bit boring, whatever. For me personally, but
I
like
guess
that,
the question to you is gamers, would either of you play Pokemon Go?
I tried it at launch.
Yeah.
It wasn't really for me.
Because I actually am curious about that as a counter, because like I see these, like again, like I said, I have these neighbor kids and they're really into the Pokemon Go. They're out there all the time, and the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, this is almost indistinguishable for me than bird watching. Like, and I will give credit to the Pokemon Go because it's like, it's active gameplay, right? Gets you out of your house. It's fun, But I'm like, I guess the whole you can't make the birds fight each other.
No, but Pokemon Go at launch, you couldn't make your guys
like,
fight each other either.
I'm not going to speak for Pokemon players because I'm not one, but I feel like
that game wouldn't appeal to you either.
I feel like the act of collecting is what is a key mechanic and engagement for those types of players, and that is not my nerd stripe. I am
You're the one who
No.
like 100%ed Final Fantasy VII.
That's not
But
collecting.
that's not collecting. That's completionist.
Oh, whatever. That'd be the same thing. Watch
the
the-
two-
No. We don't want to devolve into this. You've got the wrong. It's going to be an hour with Crofton getting it right. Just drop it. It's not the same thing.
Well, I mean,
Because-
all to say, like that movie, A Big Year. That's what it's about. Seeing all the birds in North America. It's like you got a big game, You're not just collecting. You're not just getting your thing. You want to see them all. And it's
right,
like,
but it's a game. The reason you're in that game, you're choosing to play that game, is to do collecting, right? Like that. It's a collections game. It's like a scav. It's the same with me. I'm not collecting. Is not my nerd stripe. It was when I was a child, and this is not to in any way insult anyone. It's just that I was really into collecting as a kid. Like, and my brother Dev is even more so, like, and he was like, we go to the beach, he'd want to collect all the shells, like all the shells on the beach. Oh, I got different things. He would like even down to like berries and picking berries and stuff. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it's like it's a similar, like, I want to find them all and find all the good ones, and this collecting feathers, collecting all of that stuff. In Scouts or in Cubs rather, I had like a collector's. There was a collector's badge you could get. I think I got it for macarons. I don't even know if they exist anymore. What are they called? Like buttons. They're essentially like
dogs?
the metal
pins,
buttons.
You
with
pin them on.
with the pin and stuff. They were really popular when I was a kid, but seem to not exist anymore, or at least I don't see them. Anyway, I got my badge for that. But then at a certain point, I lost interest in collecting. And like, even I'll play video games like Mario Odyssey. You'll have different stars you can get in a world, and one of them will always be like collect something, and I'm like, oh god, I'll either leave that one for last or not do it altogether. But that said, there's a lot of people that's their jam. That's what they want. A collecting one, I'm in, right? And I can see it already in my daughter. Like, she's really big into scavenger hunts. Mike, the scavenger hunt at your party, you saw how much the kids were into it. It was Ivan's birthday party, and they're really into it because they're really into collecting. And I think that even though that's not necessarily my nerd stripe, it wouldn't take, if you force me to participate in something like a scavenger hunt or something where I'm checking stuff off a list, as it would get going, I'm sure I would get into it, because everybody does, because it's a natural inclination. So I totally understand where the love of bird watching comes from, but to get into the game, I don't have that interest or drive, and I can't see it, like, unless like you, it was through your wife and stuff, and if there was somebody I really cared about that was like, oh, you should really, this is something we could do together.
Well, it's interesting because
that might be enough.
It's not like, because I would say, like, I am a pretty passive bird watcher. It's more like, because it still will go, like, for a canoe ride, and Andrea will be like, oh, you want to bring your binoculars? And I'll be like, nah, I'll look through yours if we see something interesting. And oftentimes she'll be looking at some bird, and she's like, oh, that's I don't know, some bird. She's like, you want to look? And I'll be like, yeah, I can see it good enough from the tree. Like, I'm not that into it, but I am into it enough when it's like, to take notice. Like, I'm very passive about it, but it's more like it's this whole thing that I just like didn't realize was there. And it's like a lot of people are really into it, and it's just like, it's extensive in the sense there's thousands of birds just wherever, like, of different species and varieties that you might not even be aware of. But anyways, and the one funny thing that I have with this bird, because now that I'm always trying to spot a bird, I think I see a different bird, and I'll always say to Andrea, like, oh, what's that over there? And she'll be like, it's a crow. It's always like, when I think I see something different, it's always like some super common bird. It's always robin, crow, or seagull. And it's like, because it'll be far enough away, I'm like, look at that. I'm like, maybe it's some variety of hawk. And she's like, no, it's a seagull. And I'm like, okay. So I'm not good at it. But yeah, but I've had some good warbler sightings, I must say.
Oh no, I give you full credit for
anyways.
all of those.
I don't want to drag this out longer than needs be, but so are we still going to do the verdicts, being that
oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, so
do the verdicts.
Should I bring in
but
what? Oh.
The one thing just before the verdicts I would say is, I in particular, and I'll own this, have often harped on the idea of you got to be able to say a topic is good, bad, or bullshit for it to be a good topic. So if somebody brings in something that is just like, war crimes, and you're like, how am I going to say that that's good? It's, well, that worked in the past, but I think for each of us, like, if we want to bring in a topic and we know that everybody's going to say it's good, or everybody that's going to say it's bad, that's on us. If it leads to good conversation or whatever, I'm all for it.
Well, I mean, like, I don't want to out what I think Bo's topic will be or verdict will be, but I imagine something like bird watching, like he was talking about the torment level in Diablo 3, I feel like for him, making him go on a birdwatching excursion would be like setting torment level to 20. Like, I just imagine Bo would be like, this is such a waste of my time. Like, he would not be into it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to take the approach of like
is a positive word in Diablo.
So, right, yeah, the plains of agony.
The higher the torment level, the better the drop, Mike.
I should call Bo up some Saturday morning. Hey, Bo, I'm just running out to the old plains of agony with my my binoculars, see if we can catch a rare sighting of a scarlet tanager. Torment level 20. He's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm there.
All right.
So yeah, let's do it.
All right, we're gonna bring in the farm animals, and if this is your first time here, what are we bringing in farm animals for? It's because they help us declare that it's verdict time.
Because Bo doesn't like animals.
Shh,
I'm uncomfortable.
Quiet in the corner.
Order, I say. Order in the court.
Order in the court. Who wants to go first? Yeah, scurvy.
I think Bo should go first, actually.
All right, easy. Bird watching's good. Live and let live. If watching animals is your thing, animals are beautiful. I think it's a beautiful thing. If you want to go and watch some animals and tick it off a collection list and see all, it's always nice seeing a new animal. Period. Let alone birds. I can't find a single reason to think this is a bad thing. So it's good.
So.
Well, simple.
Boring,
but yeah, good for you. But I thought you were going to say waste of time. But
boring,
like, yeah.
Not for me.
Boring.
But good.
I find this topic interesting because to me it is something that is so benign in terms of like maybe there's some environmental impacts from bird watchers that go to places that trample on wildlife or that it leads to tourism in certain areas. But I really just see it as like a positive thing. And I sort of think romanticize bird watching in a little bit, maybe because my mom's always been doing it and I associate it a bit with my parents. She got my dad into it. And so it just seems like really like soft, quiet, tranquil, inoffensive, all things that I think are very, very positive. And it's just, there isn't that gateway drug to bringing me in or making me want to do it. But at the same point, I can appreciate people who do. And I think that if you do like doing it, then it's a great hobby. It gets you outdoors, exercise, enables travel, all of that sort of stuff. So with all that said, I got nothing to think of bird watching other than good. And boring. But
also, I forgot to do a sound for me too. So hang on.
Well, I'm glad you guys see the good in bird watching. I also see the good in bird watching.
3 goods. Oh my.
3 goods. And I mean, I would go with you guys good but boring. But I think it is one of those things that's kind of like right in front of your face. You never think about it. When I was a kid, my dad had a bird feeder up front. It'd be like, oh, a blue jay. It looks nice. It's blue. Occasionally, you'd get some kind of like somewhat different. A grosbeak. Whenever we saw I'd be like, oh, a grosbeak. You don't see those every day. But now that I've taken notice, it's just like opened up this whole thing. And I'll give you one short story about the goodness in this. I went for a hike in the spring. So spring and fall, that's migration season. You get all these different birds going around. And Andrea was like, bring your binoculars. We're going for a little hike. And then we came into up in the Gatineau Park near where we live. And there was this kind of little, like, I don't know, hollow. Or if you were American, you'd say the holler. Like the hollow between 2 hills. There was a stream, kind of a little bit of a swampy area up on the mountain. And then it went off.
I can just picture it.
The trees, the wind, it's protected from the wind. The leaves are just starting to come out on the trees. And you're in a dense hardwood forest, beautiful surroundings. And then Andrea starts looking at these birds, and I took my binoculars out, and then I realized like there's birds all around me. And then I started looking at the binoculars, and I was like, oh, American redstart spotted, yellow warbler, blackbirdian warbler. And it was just like I was just knocking them off. And then as I'm doing this, a pileated woodpecker, which is like a big honking woodpecker,
biggest pecker of them all, man,
biggest one, perches on a tree, and it's just like da 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 da, and I was just like, I'm in Xanadu, bird watching paradise. It was just
they must make activity books for that kind of thing, right?
They do. And you like check them out, and it was like there was for sure birds I had never seen before, and some that I was like, I need to remember the things I saw. But I was like, I saw like in that like probably 7 birds that I never see or hardly see, and a couple that I had never seen, and a few that Andrew saw that I didn't even see, and it was really just like. I was really fun and exciting, But it's like if you were just going for a hike and didn't think about the birds, you wouldn't even notice. You'd be like, oh yeah, there's birds. But yeah, it's good.
Okay, I think I can kind of see the point because if it's kind of like hidden Easter eggy a little bit, then it's like
it is. That's really it. Right in front of your face, sort of.
I have this premonition, this feeling there's a trip in your future and it's gonna involve seeing.
I will never do a bird watching.
I really have to see this one bird in Guatemala, so we're going.
Definitely not, but I will say that when I do go traveling now, I'm like, oh, what birds might I see? When I was on Vancouver Island, I saw like a red-headed woodpecker that you don't see out here, and a couple other interesting birds that I hadn't seen. So yeah, you're more like you go for a little hike up there, and
are you interested in taking photographs of them?
It occurred to me that would be a fun thing to get into, but then you got to lug around a big,
You can't use your cell phone.
No, really, it's like when you see these birds, they're
too far, and you're like,
and they flit around. They're fast, most of these birds. You see the bird, you get one good sighting where you can even just get it in your binoculars for like a couple seconds to be like, oh, he had like color around his eyes, and his tail had yellow dots on it, or something like that. Like I've started to know what to look for. Look at the wings. Look at the tail. Look at their eyes, and then you might have different things that you go back to when you're looking in the book. Not just be like, oh, it's an LBJ. You might be like, oh, I had a red hat on.
I like how how
right.
LBJ is like the like dismissive terminology of the bird watching world. It's like calling somebody a noob or something. Like you're like, oh, all he sees is LBJs all day, man. He's like nothing.
The video game equivalent is a term called vendor trash. You'll get like 100 items from doing a thing, and one of them is worth keeping. The rest is stuff you sell to the vendor.
They're all LBJs, buddy.
It's vendor trash.
I wonder. Part of me would be interested in some of the other bird watching terminology to use it.
I'm sure there's tons.
There's got to be ways to insult people with bird stuff.
All right. Well, if you want to find ways to insult people, us, don't email us. But if you want to send us anything else, do it. That was a ham-handed segue, but it's got to be done, Crofton. You're out of control. Send us an email at goodbadbull@gmail.com. Tell us what you think about bird watching. If you are listening to this show but don't know how to subscribe to it, you can go to our website, goodbadbull.com. There's links to subscribe to the show there. What's next? Oh, yeah. We want to say thank you to our wonderful patrons, the people who support Good, Bad, or Bullshit. Thank you very much. If you're interested in supporting us, you can go to patreon.com/goodbadbull. And finally, we're going to give out our social media things because I'm trying to prove a point and do this really quick today. My social media shit is at Bo Schwartz. Crofton's is at...
You can reach me on the social media platforms of your choice, mostly Twitter, at Crofton Steers.
And Mike's not on social media, so where can they find you if they want to holler?
You can find me in the holler looking for an American Red Start.
All right, well, that's where you can find Mike. All right, with that out of the way, we may continue our end of show banter.
Okay, wait, I got it. I want to do quick. Crofton, favorite bird. Let's go round table.
Favorite bird?
Favorite bird. I like how Bo is like, I hate this already. It's great making him uncomfortable. No. Favorite bird. Doesn't have to be rare, special. Just what bird do you like the best?
The one that runs away from Wile E. Coyote.
A real bird.
Roadrunner. Meep, meep.
Yeah, a roadrunner is a bird, but not. He doesn't live around here.
Like, does it have to? If it
no,
was from
just one you like.
Around here would be the cardinal, based on that story I told earlier about my mom. But if it was like all around, I'd probably say the cassowary from
exotic
from Australia, because just we were looking for a cassowary for a really long time when we were backpacking in Australia. We ended up seeing one in two places.
Yeah,
one on
like
Magnetic Island. and one in a Steve Irwin, R.I.P.'s zoo, the crocodile hunter.
R.I.P.
And
Shout out Cardi
Is it
B.
Is it a beautiful bird?
and yeah, it's really beautiful, but also super scary. Like it's an ostrich.
Oh, okay.
It's like big like an ostrich. And so it's like I said, I like the big birds, big peckers.
But so that's what you're going with, the cassowary, not the.
Well, I
cardinal.
would say like I don't have a strong emotional attachment to any bird in particular, but I would say that that's probably like it's the one. If you put it in front of me right now, I'd be like, "Oh shit, what's it doing in my house?"
Like a big bird with presence. All right, Bo.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to hear Bo's.
I don't have a favorite bird.
Come on, Bo.
I mean,
see a bird
I like
and you
calling
like it.
seagulls shithawks and Quebec chickens because
So
it's funny.
the seagull then. It also eats almost as much cigarettes as you do.
Well done. No, I don't know. I don't have a favorite bird. I'm sorry.
Then you're going with seagull. Okay, Bo seagull. And do you guys want to hear my favorite bird?
Yeah, what's your favorite bird?
You know what? I take it back. My favorite bird is the kiwi.
The kiwi bird?
Yeah.
Isn't that a dead bird? I'm thinking of the dodo bird. Is a kiwi bird
I like
dead?
a lot of penguins too, I gotta say. I need to think
don't care
about
for
this
the
more.
penguin.
Are those birds?
I'm like, you
Yeah,
gave up flight
penguins are
penguins.
birds.
Okay.
Like Bo is like, yeah,
never-
just a bird.
I never really thought about it. They don't really look
What do
like
you think they are?
birds.
Oh, they're fish?
They're freaks from the north.
I liked a
or
lot of the
south.
New Zealand
Yeah,
birds.
they're not in the north.
They're,
They live in
they're-
Antarctica.
They're polar weird things. I just think some things defy classification. Are they birdie genus or?
Okay, so you guys want to hear my favorite bird or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep going. Okay, I think that my favorite bird is the I mentioned it before, the Blackburnian warbler.
Black
I think it was-
Burnian.
Was
You guys
that the
should
one?
Google it.
Warbler.
Blackburnian warbler.
Is that the one that's on Twitch now?
No, that was the scarlet tanager. The Blackburnian warbler, I think, was the first bird that I was like, oh, what is that bird? I never saw it before, and I had to look it up, and it looked really cool. So it tweaked my. Did you look it up?
Yeah, I looked it up.
How's it
It's
look?
just fun. It looks like a sparrow with an orange face. But
Basically.
but
Both
I
you looked
do.
it up.
I looked it up. I mean, it kind of looks
You
like
like
the Royal Tenenbaum, but with different colors a little bit.
It looks nothing like the scarlet tanager. I like how you're like, I got wings. It seems to fly.
So
I
I
mean,
learned
it's a very
something.
pretty pattern that it has. I put it up for our viewers now.
I also find it's funny because there's a reference link to a website called birdzilla.com. And I have gone onto Birdzilla and now I'm clicking on random birds. So good job,
Yeah.
Hodgins.
There, now you're gonna get into it. All of a sudden, you're
There's
gonna
got to
be.
be a video gamification app for bird watching.
I feel like there must be.
There probably is, but I bet you there's one that's going to break big soon. I also feel this is something, and this is no
Right.
offense. There's no offense to
Investors,
Mike
listen up.
meant here, but like I feel that hipsters are going to get really into bird watching sometime soon. Like
I
if
can
it
see
hasn't. If it hasn't happened yet, I feel like it will. It just feels like one of those things that is right, you know?
The hipsters ruin everything, right?
That's right. Oh, speaking of hipsters,
They ruined
and,
music, then coffee. Now gonna be birds.
end the show, Bo.
Yeah, I think it's time to end.
All
the
right,
show.
let's end the show.
Woo!
I was like,
All right.
good riddance. That was a good 1 hour.
Cool. No, that was a good show. It was a good topic, dude.
I liked it.
I liked
Good.
it. Chat room, did, you know, what did they say? Raise your dongers if you liked it.
You'd be like, chat room? It's like echo, echo. Chat room? Oh, I guess it wasn't as well received there.
Put your Bo Schwartzes in there or something. I guess nobody's sub to my channel anymore. But, I don't know. Here, put this guy. Touchdown, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing some of these topics from Bo and Crofton now going forward. I feel like we should definitely pilot this for a while unless we get like some feedback. I assume we'll get zero feedback, so we'll just do whatever we want. So,
Yeah. Potentially. Potentially. Thanks to the chat room, they were really active, and a lot of Monica's talking about the mockingbird as the
well,
best
yeah, she lives
bird.
in the United States of America. Like, I mean, there's where she lives is a whole bunch of different birds, and we'll see.
Yeah, and Lord Shaper's on here, and he's from Australia, so he's talking about how a cassowary can kill you.
Cassowary. Oh,
It can kill you, and that there's warning signs when you drive around about
kill
it.
you? Like what?
So, dude, it's a scary fucking bird. I'm just saying, like it's
Cassowary. Let me look this thing up.
yeah. I would.
Nice,
spell
Lord
that?
Shaper. There you go. My face emoticon is there. Lord
Yeah,
Shaper
so
is a premier subscriber to the Gorath Twitch.
So
stream.
that cassowary thing is just like hanging around town.
no, not necessarily. Like it's oh man, the
Oh, what was the one
deadliest
you
bird.
said that was hanging around?
Oh, the ibis.
Ibis. A cassowary will try to kill you. Is that
Oh,
what?
we
Like
ended the show.
it can.
How?
It's fucking aggressive bird.
I feel like I just snap its neck. How big is it?
Well, it's about as big as you are.
That's pretty big, I guess. But it's got no hands.
It's got no hands.
You know, like, yeah, I have legs and hands. It's got 2 legs and a freaking.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, but they can
I'm
flutter
not.
all up in your face and probably
I guess
snap
it has
at you.
wings.
I'm not good at fighting. I wouldn't want to fight an ostrich or a cassowary.
I feel like I could fight a cassowary.
I
I'd
would
fight
pay-
it over a mammal, some mammal. You give me a bear or a cassowary, give me that cassowary.
Oh, and Lord Shaper says ibises are known as bin chickens.
Hey, that's very similar to the shit hawk.
Bin or bean.
But that's it. I was taking a bunch of photos of them. I thought they were exotic birds.
Ibis.
Yeah, like but they're just
Let
like
me look up this ibis. I don't know what they look like.
look. You'll see when you see one. You'll be like, oh yeah, white. It's like a white ibis or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
cool looking.
Oh,
that
yeah,
thing.
yeah. There's
Especially
big
the pink
people?
ones.
Yeah, the pink
No,
ones.
cassowary is.
Cassowary.
Did you guys find the ibis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks sort of like a flamingo.
Oh shit! Lord Shaper's dropping all sorts of cassowary knowledge here. Cassowaries can jump up to 1.5 meters.
Oh, tall.
Well,
Height
so what?
wise.
What's it gonna do?
What?
Just jump and puts its claws in your face.
No, it has huge claws, dude. I wouldn't want. It's like fighting a raptor. I wouldn't do it.
I'd still take my chances with it over a bear. Come on, a bear.
Yeah, probably over a bear.
Well, like now you're putting it up against like the biggest,
I'm
toughest
just saying,
mammal.
if I have to fight an animal that's roughly my proportions, I'll give me the bird. I mean, look, maybe I would eat those words after the cassowary kicked my ass, but I feel like I would rather that than fight even a wolf. I would rather fight a cassowary than a wolf.
This turned into.
Oh no!
This turned into like.
I think I would fight a wolf
bro down.
before I would fight a cassowary.
Wolf would tear you apart. A cassowary.
One wolf?
Yeah, one wolf would tear you apart. Maybe not me, but you for sure.
Off on this.
That's pretty funny. You got served, Croft.
Shut up, Mo. You would be torn apart too. Oh.
Dude, I'm
if,
twice your size. I can handle things on size alone.
if anything, I would push you towards the wolf and I'd be like, take this guy. And then I'd run away. But the cassowary, he would catch me. Oh, God.
I don't know, but the wolf would look at my long hair and go, "Oh, he's one of us."
Well, listen to. I'm looking at the Wikipedia entry for the cassowary. In his 1958 book "Living Birds of the World," ornithologist Ernest Thomas Gilliard wrote, "The inner or second of the 3 toes is fitted with a long, straight, murderous nail, which can sever an arm or eviscerate an abdomen with ease. There are many records of natives being killed by this bird." I'm like, oh, it doesn't sound too good now.
It's like because I feel like the bear is like the sumo wrestler and the cassowary is like the ninja. Where you're like, oh, he's small, I can take him, and then just like, and then you
He's not that small.
Well, but I mean, comparatively speaking, that was the argument. Give me the bird any day. He's smaller than the bear.
Well, there's only one human death was reported amongst 150 attacks that were recorded in how long?
Oh, I like your odds then, Mike.
Yeah, that's
I
not too
think that'll
bad.
be pretty good.
We could
Lord
survive.
Shaper, can we send Mike down to your area for some pit fighting with the cassowary? Is that a
Kicked in
thing?
the neck by a cassowary, and it might have severed his jugular vein.
Oof.
It was a boy. He killed a boy. Yeah, all right.
I got
Maybe
this.
I got the. I'm like, bring it on. I'll be like, this is when it would play the Rocky music, and I'm like training to fight the cassowary.
I do
Run
like how this podcast about bird watching ended with us discussing
Ended in
about
violence.
who
There
can.
should be a new arm of bird watching, like birds they fought throughout the world.
I think all of this bird watching is Mike's projection of his secret fantasy to bird fight. He wants to bird fight, but he knows it's wrong. So bird watching is a safe.
If a cassowary can kill you, I would imagine an ostrich would be even worse because it's a much bigger, even bird.
Probably. I just imagine you looking at bird watching in a boat, looking, oh, there are 2 blue jays. I could take them.
No problem.
Pretty much, no problem. Those ones. Oh, look, a blue heron. Little more complicated, but I could take it.
I like to jump down. I guess, and the birds of prey, like though we're just so much bigger than all, even like an eagle. But like those talons, I guess, they're coming in for your neck.
Good. All right, gents, I'm gonna let you go.
Lord Shaper, but there's a lot about Australia that just scares me to the bone. The concept of living there.
You guys lost the dangerous animals lottery. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, it's like they're all there.
Yeah, if it's poisonous, if it's
it's the box jellyfish that seems the worst to me. Like, oi, I'll go for a swim down in the bay, and then you die.
Yeah.
It's a great Australian, especially the oi. Sorry, Lord Shaper.
Fire up the Bobby, I'll be back. And then he goes down, and then he's dead.
All right, gents, I'm gonna let you go.
We gotta end the show, the actual stream. So thanks for hanging out post show. Thank you so much for watching, tuning in, hanging out. We're going to get this episode out in record time, I swear to God. So if you came in late and you want to check out the show, it'll be up on YouTube and audios real soon. There will be Dungeons on Sunday and Dungeons and Diapers with Crofton next week. And if you're just a good, bad bullshit watcher, 2 weeks' time. For me,
bye, everybody.
For Crofton, for Mike, I bid you good night.